All right. My name is Liz Colon, and I am a parent who's been personally affected by lead poisoning. I am also a homeowner, an advocate, and I am very concerned about the future of Rhode Island's children in dealing with this water issue. A little bit of background: lead is a heavy metal. It's a neurotoxin. It's extremely dangerous for children and adults, and it can cause long-term permanent brain damage. And any amount of lead in the body is unsafe, and it is dangerous. In Rhode Island in 2020, over 600 children, or 3.2% of kids tested, had elevated blood lead levels. And I have no doubt that that number is actually much higher because of what's happened with the pandemic. In addition to the well-known threat of lead paint, older homes and contaminated soil still remain an issue. But water continues to contribute to these lead levels. All lead poisoning is entirely preventable. We know what to do.
That's right.
Yet we're still in the midst of the longest lasting childhood epidemic in U.S. history, and it is still not treated like an epidemic. Lead contamination in drinking water comes almost always from the service line, the pipe that connects the water main in the street to the home. Lead's very common material used for water service lines since the mid-20th century, and many of our homes throughout the state of Rhode Island were built before then. Infants who drink water and used for formula are especially high risk for drinking water contamination and high blood levels, and those children will usually be missed because they don't get tested until they're at least a year old. In regards to the water in Providence, or Providence Water and other water authorities, Providence Water, there's about 27,000 remaining full or partial lead service lines in the area. About 35% of the service lines are made up of lead. If you take that 35% and apply it to the whole state, we can guess that there are over 100,000 remaining lead service lines statewide. Providence Water is one of the many authorities in the state, but the largest and the one that we have the most data for. They have been over the EPA's action level for lead in water 14 out of the last 15 years. You can reference the banner right there. And it's continuing to rise. Providence was ranked second on a national priority watch list for lead in water. Any level of lead in water is bad, but these numbers really show us exactly how dangerous this situation is, and it deserves more attention. Providence Water has been doing lead partial service line replacements and offering loans to property owners, but some water authorities have done partial replacement, but most have not even started. We need to replace all the service lines and make sure that the financial burden is not falling on homeowners. It's time for the state and water authorities to step up and make sure that this happens. Some folks that I know, public health historians and co-authors of several books on the history of lead poisoning, David Rosner and Gerald Markowitz, say that the answer lies in the intersection of politics, class, and race. It's only expensive if you think it's not worth doing. Which is a value of judgment about communities and people. And that's where we see these tragic things happening today.